Hey guys, what is going on? Jurgen from ZurGrinoSports here, and today we are back at it again with a Raw review for the March 29th, 2021 edition of Raw. Quickly before we get into it, if you would like to join the Discord server for the channel, you can check out the link in the description. Also follow me on Twitter in the description. Also, leave your thoughts on Raw down below. I think I know what they're going to be because I feel like there's a general consensus with this week's Raw, with it being dookie, but let me know what you guys thought of Raw down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? I accidentally just hit the desk with my mic stand. My apologies. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the review. So we started with a cold open with Drew arriving backstage, and an interviewer pulls him aside and he's like, hey, what are your thoughts on Lashley's offer? He's like, okay, yeah, I heard Lashley's offer, take me out and you take my spot at Mania, blah, 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 but you gotta think about two things. One, is Lashley good on his offer? And two, I dare you to come get this ass kicking. So there we go, cold open. Then we started off officially, I guess, after the cold open, in the ring with The Hurt Business promo. MVP says this is an official announcement from The Hurt Business. Lashley we are 2 weeks away, or less than 2 weeks away from Mania, where Lashley will walk in and out as champion, and it's currently scheduled to be Drew versus Lashley, but, he repeats the offer. Take out Lashley and you get the title shot. I think Lashley said this at this point. And then MVP cuts back in with the promo and saying, and now we'll point out this isn't weakness. We just feel at the Hurt Business that Drew has already had his opportunity and we want to give somebody else, another rising star, their opportunity. And next we want to address who won't be accompanying the Almighty at WrestleMania. Then they show the replay of the handicap, and then they start running down Cedric and Shelton. They're like, you couldn't get the job done. You were banned from ringside. You lost the tag titles. You're tarnishing my image. I can't count on you two for anything, and I refuse to associate with incompetence. Yeah, man, that's what Lashley says. Then MVP's like, yo, he's right. You guys failed miserably. Why don't you speak up for yourselves? Cedric says, well, we couldn't have done this privately. And then Shelton cuts in. He's like, what? This is why you wanted us out here? You want to play games with us? You want to embarrass us? You wouldn't even be champion without us. Shelton at this point is trying to get in Lashley's face. MVP is trying to hold him back to calm him down. Shelton pushes MVP. You know what I mean? Lashley attacks Cedric, and then Shelton kind of ragdolled Lashley a little bit, so that was funny. But Lashley ends up getting the upper hand. Gets on the mic. He says, as for Cedric and Shelton, the Hurt Business is over, and for the rest of the people in the back, my offer still stands. Take out Drew and face me at Mania. Awful. Not the delivery or anything. The delivery makes sense from Lashley's point of view to be like, oh, you're tarnishing my image, this and that, whatever. The decision to break up the Hurt Business, unless this ends up being a ruse, which I don't see how it could be, considering they are banned from ringside at Mania, so you can't even be like, oh, they're not going to get involved because, they broke up. It's like, no, they're not going to get involved whether they broke up or not. They're banned from ringside unless new members of the Hurt Business get involved, and then whatever. But I don't know. I hate that. I hate it. The Hurt Business was the best thing on Raw, and now they broke it up prematurely, and it's just a WWE thing. You break things up prematurely, and it is what it is, So, yeah, dude. Awful way to start. In my opinion. Yeah, let's move on. Then we had a Riddle backstage interview where he was asked if he knows why Sheamus attacked him last week. He says he doesn't know why, but Sheamus did, and he pissed him off. And then he said something about a Dorito, how it's like when you get so pissed off because you were saving a Dorito all day, and then when you go to eat it, you like drop it on the floor or something. And then he sees Titus, he's like, yo, you can have a pig roast in the ring at WrestleMania. And then Titus is like, what? He's like, yo, roast of WrestleMania. He's like, no, I'm co-host of WrestleMania. And then Titus leaves, and then Riddle starts saying some other dumb shit, and then Sheamus attacks him once again, and then kind of walks off, and that's how we end that segment. it was kind of funny at the beginning of this in like October, November, the whole stoner gimmick. I mean, it's almost April now, and he is your United States champion. You know what I mean? It's not great. We get more Riddle stuff later that's just not fantastic also. Well, one of them is fantastic, ironically, and then the other one is not fantastic. We have Shelton and Cedric, I guess, requesting a match for Shelton versus Lashley later tonight. My stream was having issues here, so if I missed something, I only saw the end of the thing where Cedric yells, "Book the match," and then they walk off. But then commentary was like, "Oh, Shelton requesting a match with Lashley." There was a bit of a botch by the announcer when the match does happen later, because he said this is a handicap match when it wasn't. It was just Shelton and Lashley. But anyways, then we have Sheamus versus Riddle in a singles match. MVP is on commentary tonight. I guess Joe wasn't there. I kind of got my hopes up that maybe Joe would be the one to attack Drew to get him back into wrestling, but I don't know why. Maybe Joe got COVID. Maybe Joe was sick. Not COVID related, you know what I mean? I don't know. But Joe's usually on commentary. Maybe they just made a decision to have Joe removed from commentary. I really don't know why Joe wasn't there. I don't know if they explained it. I don't remember if they explained why Joe wasn't there. But MVP was on commentary for the segments that he wasn't part of the show. So if he had to go backstage for a promo or something, he would be there. But otherwise, he'd be at commentary throughout the night. Sheamus, it looked like he low-blowed Riddle for the finish, but the commentary didn't even refer to it, so I don't really know. But anyway, Sheamus won with a brogue knee, and he beat Riddle clean, and then Riddle attacked him after the match. And then later on, they announced Riddle versus Sheamus for the U.S. Championship at Mania. Yeah, also shit. I mean, the match was good. They got decent time, and they had a good hard-hitting match, a good, wrestling match and stuff like that. The match quality was good for sure for the time that they were allotted. It's this WWE thing that they always do where it's, hey, beat the champion clean, and then you get a title shot, and then whatever. And again, this is something that's okay, occasionally, because almost everything is okay occasionally in wrestling. If you're trying to tell a certain story, then it's okay to do something occasionally. The problem with WWE is that these things that are only okay occasionally are the things that they do consistently. And we'll get to that later, too. They had some dumb shit later as well. And it's just, Raw overall just was not good. I'm not a fan of this Riddle, character that we have right now. I'm not a fan of him being champion, but I mean, setting up Riddle versus Sheamus by having Sheamus beat him clean is okay, why not just have, you have a whole roster back there with Gulak and Ricochet and Jeff and stuff. Just have Sheamus versus Jeff. If you really want to have Sheamus and Riddle, just have a number of contenders, you know what I mean? Because guess what? Mustafa Ali earned himself a United States Championship match by beating Riddle clean. And then he got another championship match after losing his championship match, which again doesn't... it's just... Make it make sense, please, man. It's whatever, man. Again, match quality was good. It's just the booking just doesn't really make sense in my mind, because they do it so consistently. If this was the first time they've done this in 6 months, 8 months or whatever, then yeah, fine. You can get away with it, fine. But they do it every week, every month. You know what I mean? It's oh, okay, wow. Way to keep your champions strong. You know what I mean? If you wanted Sheamus to beat Riddle, just do a tag match, and then he can pin him in the tag match. You know what I mean? And then you could be oh, you pinned him in tag competition. Maybe you could pin him in singles competition, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's better than doing a clean win in singles. Whatever. And then we had Shane, Elias, and Riker walking backstage. The new interviewer who replaced Charlie, right? That's the one who got heat with Sheamus and Orton for being late to interviews. And and then now she's doing like ESPN or TSN or something. I don't know. The guy who replaced her is the new interviewer, I guess, and he pulls Shane aside. He's like, "Oh, yo, any insight, on this Braun expose that you're going to be running?" Because it was advertised that Shane would be doing a Braun expose. And he said, "No, I respect that you're a journalist and you're going to ask these questions, but no. But all I can say is that there are going to be some interesting things." And we go to commercial, we come back, and we have Shane's Braun Strowman expose. He wants to address the elephant in the room, not Braun. People who are questioning the legitimacy of his knee injury are people who don't know about, science and how the human body works and how about adrenaline. Adrenaline is what allowed him to flee the danger last week so he could be 100% to beat Braun at Mania. And the expose is a 5th grade report card of Braun. It was like a D- in 3 things, like math, social studies or something, and then one other thing, and then D+ in gym. And then there were comments. I didn't bother writing it down because it's just an awful segment. And then, Shane says that it's evidence that he's stupid. Elias said some shit about feeling sorry for him. Riker said, "Yo, it's the stereotype, big guy, little brain. Unfortunately for Braun, it's true." You know what I mean? And then Shane says, "You know what? And it looks like you need a hug from us, which we will give you, Braun." Braun's music comes out. He comes in. They all retreat the ring. And then we come back from commercial to Braun versus Jackson Riker. There was a moment where, Braun kind of chased Shane around the ring and got in. And then Riker could have capitalized, but Braun, saw it coming kind of thing. Braun did the Strowman Express, and it still has that god-awful, stupid-ass sound effect. Please get rid of that. It's not good. It makes the fucking move look dumb and stupid and carny and not good. Because when he actually did the Strowman Express and he's just running around, beating the fuck out of people, that actually looks kind of cool. But then you add Thomas the Tank Engine soundtrack, and then all of a sudden, hey, guess what? This is fucking childish. Don't do it. I don't know who the fuck. I don't know if it's a Vince call. I don't know if it's a Kevin Dunn call. I don't know if it's somebody else's call. Whoever's call it was, it's fucking stupid that a grown-ass 7-foot man needs a choo-choo train fucking soundtrack to do a wrestling move. Fuck off. Get rid of it. The match wasn't that great. I mean, it was a short match. It had Riker and it had Braun. You're not going to get a fucking 5-star classic. You're not going to get a Benoit versus Angle. You're not going to get an Eddie versus Angle. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not going to get that in that short of time. Even with a long time, you're not getting that with Braun and Riker. Braun wins comfortably. Then he tries to get at Shane. Elias blindsides him, and then they beat him down 2-on-1. But he does the Big Show Royal Rumble thing when everybody's on him, and he just kind of breaks out. They get out of the ring. He gets on the mic. He's like, "Oh, Shane, you thought I forgot. You thought I forgot that you said any match at Mania." The match that I choose means that your little goons here can't get involved. Shane, at WrestleMania, you're gonna get these hands in a steel cage match. The steel cage match, stipulation always gets me a little excited, so it definitely helps the hype for this match, but by a very, very small margin, because the match itself stinks. The match itself, quality, like the concept of the match, the build and everything. An executive who's a million years old calling this dude stupid and legitimately looking strong over him clean a couple weeks ago with the slime incident and the camera incident. The build's shit. The premise is shit. The match quality is probably not going to be great unless it's Strowman beating the fuck out of Shane. I don't want Shane to get an ounce of offense in this match, man. And he will. He's going to look 50-50 booked. He's going to look strong, brother. It's going to be like when he fought AJ and they had like a surprisingly good match, but also AJ made Shane look better than like half the roster, which doesn't help the other half of the roster. Yeah, unless that match is just Braun murdering a man inside of a cage, it's going to stink. But yeah, It is what it is. I mean, the expose was garbage. The build is garbage. The match was Braun and Riker is whatever. It serviced building to the match. Let's just move on. Then we had the I was gonna say Miz TV, but it was actually the dirt sheet for the world premiere of Hey Hey Hop Hop. Hey John, who was nominated for a VMA last year? Bad Bunny, who didn't win? Bad Bunny, but he won a Grammy. That's not how this works. Who's going to beat Bad Bunny at WrestleMania? Miz, correct. Bad Bunny doesn't belong here, and I taught him that when I hit him with the guitar. When Bad Bunny hit me with the guitar, he tried to injure me, while all I tried to do was teach him a lesson, and I promised to pay him back at WrestleMania. Then they showed Hey Hey Hop Hop, which was genuinely, I think, the highlight of Raw. It was just so fucking ridiculous in a good way. It was fantastic. I personally loved it. Then we had Bad Bunny and Priest come in. Priest, he's like, "Yo, congratulations, you guys! Like, we actually enjoyed it. It was entertaining." Miz, I'm glad you found the time to laugh and relax, because you won't be laughing when Bad Bunny handles you at WrestleMania. Then Bad Bunny said something in Spanish. Miz is like, "What'd he say?" Priest is like, "He said he's gonna make you his bitch." Then Miz and Morrison get out of the ring to confront Bad Bunny. Priest stops them, and they're like, "Oh, what? Oh, big man protecting him." And he's like, "You know what? He doesn't need my help." And then he steps aside, and then Miz is like, "Oh, yeah." And then Bad Bunny, boom, punches him in the goddamn face. Bad Bunny and Priest go in the ring as Morrison tries to calm Miz down. Bad Bunny throws the chairs from the set out. He threw the one away from the hard cam, where the hard cam's facing into the crowd really heavy, and then he went to throw the other one towards commentary really heavy, and then he's like, "Oh shit, there's people there," and then he just kind of dropped it over the rope. I thought that was kind of funny. And then they were like, "Yo, don't knock over the painting of the poster for the song or whatever." And then he knocks it over and all that stuff, and then he throws it at them and stuff. Yeah, man, I really hope that they get Priest involved in a tag, because if it's just Bad Bunny and Miz, you're not really doing much for Priest. And at that point, you're just putting over a celebrity to put over the celebrity. And at that point, yikes. You know what I mean? So really, we need this to be a tag match. Obviously, the report was that Morrison and Priest have some minor injuries, so if they get cleared, they'll be added back, because originally it was a tag. So hopefully that happens. If they can't wrestle, then they can't wrestle, and that's unfortunate. Maybe just have Priest, interfere to give Bad Bunny the win or something. Then Priest can do a handicap at the next pay-per-view or something, and then win, and then you can have him look strong or something like that. I don't know, because I don't think Bad Bunny is going to be around permanently. I feel like he might go away after Mania. But yeah, man. Then we had a Randy backstage promo where he says he has had the privilege to face many legends in his career. He lists all of them off, but none of these men quite compare to The Fiend. Months ago, I knew I needed to get rid of The Fiend, so I lit the match, I burned The Fiend, and no man could have survived. But, that was my mistake, thinking he was just a man, because The Fiend is not a man. The Fiend is sick, he's twisted, he's an abomination from hell. I thought Alexa's premonition was a game, but the match at Fastlane was just a trap. Alexa knew she could bring him back. He now knows for the final time he faces Mania. He faces The Fiend at Mania, sorry. But, they're cut from the same cloth, so Randy knows what he's going to need to dig down to do to get The Fiend out of here for good, pretty much. So, yeah, man. Good Randy promo. So, yeah, absolutely. Let's go. One of the not shit things tonight. Then we had Lashley versus Shelton. At some point in the match, Cedric was accompanying Shelton in his suit. He was kind of talking shit. Lashley got out and chased him up the ramp, and he never returned. Shelton got a couple of decent moves of offense in, but then Lashley tapped him out with the Hurt Lock. Except he didn't really tap out. He kind of faintly tapped as he was passing out, which I like. So, yeah, man. Lashley beats Shelton. The right call, obviously. My bias towards Shelton aside, that's the right call. If it was my world, Shelton would be a main event guy, but unfortunately, it is not my world. So, but yeah, man, Lashley wins. Once again, the match was fine. They didn't really get much time, so it was kind of short. So it was as good as it could be within that time. But Lashley kicked out of a pay dirt, by the way. After Cedric got ran down, Lashley walked back in the ring to a pay dirt 1-2 kick out. And then MVP no-sold it on commentary. They're like, bro, he beat like champions with that. And he's like, brother, Lashley kicks out of everybody's finish. It's Lashley. That ain't no surprise these days, brother. He's a big, beefy boy, dude. But anyways, yeah, again, awful that they broke up the Hurt Business. Completely awful. I mean, like, if you just think about it this way, right? Shelton and Cedric were great tag team champions. They were a great part of the Hurt Business. What were they doing before the Hurt Business? They were in catering and chasing R-Truth around for the 24/7 title. Cedric Alexander and Shelton fucking Benjamin were chasing around R-Truth for the 24/7 title before the Hurt Business. That's a fucking crime against wrestling, okay? That's a crime against wrestling. And now, I'm worried that they're going to do the exact same thing. Because, you know, Vince is probably going to look at it and be like, oh, Hurt Business is done. They don't have to stay as a tag team. We can break them up now. And then they're going to go down the card, boom, done. Vincent Kennedy McMahon and the Raw writers will not see heaven. They will not. Y'all fucking stink for breaking up the Hurt Business, brother. I'm genuinely, like, usually I try and, like, be kind of, like, you know, jovial about how, like, I'm disappointed in the decisions, but, like, this one's just, like, I can't even be jovial about it. It's just like, bruh, the Hurt Business was the best thing on Raw for months, and it still had legs, and you're like, oh, let's cut them out early. It's just an awful decision. I don't know what the fuck Vince is thinking. Granted, Vince makes awful decisions on a daily basis now, so maybe we do know what he's thinking. Just make awful decisions, tank the value of the company kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe, because, like, he sold stock before, right? Earlier this year or something like that. Maybe he wants to buy it back low or something. I don't know, brother. I don't know. Anyways, then we had New Day and AJ backstage. Woods had this, like, writing board thing that you use for, like, Pictionary or stuff like that, you know what I mean, like, with the paper, and then you'd use, like, the marker on it and stuff like that, and he would randomly flip the page throughout the promo. If at first it said "We miss Big E," then it was subscribe to up down on YouTube, then it was listen to the New Day podcast, and then it was support Our Heroes Rock, which is a thing that Big E has started. But anyways, the point of the backstage thing was AJ and Omos were backstage, and then New Day walked by. They have, like, a game. They have a bowl with, like, stuff, and they're like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's game night, so you and Omos can, you know, connect and bond as a team." And then AJ's like, "Nah, man, me and Woods, we have a match tonight." And then they're like, "No, man, game night." And then AJ's like, okay, we'll beat you at game night, then I'll beat you tonight, Woods, and then at WrestleMania we'll beat you for the tag titles. And then that was that. Then we came back and we had New Day game night. They played charades. New Day went first. It was 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton. Kofi acting it out. Woods guessed it correctly. Then AJ and Omos went. AJ had to act out the Lion King. Omos didn't even guess. Then they had, guess the drawing. I feel like Pictionary might be copyrighted or something, so they weren't allowed to say it. But Woods drew a rocket ship. Kofi got it. Then Omos was supposed to draw. Omos was like, "I'm not drawing." AJ's like, "Okay, I'll draw." Instead, he drew the sun. Omos didn't guess. Then they were like, "Oh yeah, what is that? That's a clean sweep." And then Omos is like, "Yo, enough with the games. We don't need to win these games. We need to win the match at WrestleMania to win the tag team titles, and then you'll see what I'm made of." And then tonight, Woods, "You'll see what I'm made of," from AJ. And then Woods is like, "Oh, well, then you'll see what I'm made of," since we're all saying it. But that's all for game night. And then AJ starts, like, messing up the thing. MVP was not a fan of this on commentary. I'm also not the biggest fan of this. I wasn't hyped for this match from the moment it was announced. I wasn't hyped from this because, obviously it meant the Hurt Business lost the tag titles. And just, I don't know, man. It's weird because I like almost not being a part of the games. Like, he didn't fucking buy into it. He's like, listen, I'm not playing this stupid shit. I'm not doing this. AJ and the New Day have good comedic timing, which makes these segments bearable. But I really didn't like this. I didn't like it. They had a family game night on television in a tag title feud. Like, I understand wanting to have fun and all this shit, but like, brother, you have probably the best wrestler in the world, AJ Styles, in this segment. You have Omos, who looks like he could crush you with a fucking snap of his fingers, you know what I mean? And then you just have these two guys who are definitely going to lose, and they're just like, oh yeah, we're having fun, we're gonna beat you because you guys can't guess your favorite ice cream or your favorite color or play fucking game night, brother. Haha, you're athletes, but you can't play games. Like, why? Who fucking cares, man? Whatever. I will give them props for the 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton because I'm a fan of that song, so I'll give them props for that one, though. Anyways, then we had AJ versus Woods. The match was good for the time that they were allotted, and then the DQ finish came. When Woods was on the apron, he went to kick Omos at the side there. Omos catches the leg, and then as he has Woods' foot in his hand from catching the kick, the ref's like, don't touch him, dude. Don't touch him. I'm a disqualified. Don't touch him. It's like, brother, he is physically touching him right now. What do you mean don't touch him? And then he throws Woods into the ring. And then the ref calls the DQ. Then Kofi comes over, but he catches him in like a press slam, and then press slams him into the crowd, kind of where the virtual fans are. And then AJ beats up Woods a little bit. Woods is in the corner. Omos runs into the corner, does like a back elbow thing, I think, if I remember correctly, into the corner. Then AJ throws Woods into Omos, who does presumably what's his finisher, which is like he puts his hands like on his underarms, kind of like where his armpits are, where the side of his arms are, and picks him up for like a power bomb, but he doesn't sit out power bomb. He just kind of throws him down. I don't know what that's called, but that seemingly is Omos's finisher. Also, did I say almost for the game night segment, and then did I start saying Omos for the match? I think I just clocked that I did that. I don't know, bro. Everybody kind of messes up his name on TV, brother. I don't think anybody knows what the fuck his name is on TV, bro. Certain people say almost, certain people say Omos. I don't really know. Anyways, then after hitting that move, Omos puts his foot on Woods' chest for the pin. AJ counts a 1, 2, 3. Omos then like kind of crushes his foot into his chest, and then he kind of lays there as they talk about like how they're gonna win the tag titles and stuff like that. I like that. I don't like the DQ finish. I don't like the DQ finish because it's 2 losses in a row for AJ after he didn't lose for like the whole pandemic, and they're giving him singles losses to build a meaningless tag feud. And it's like, brother, are you fucking joking? But whatever. Anyways, I like that AJ counted the 3 because obviously New Day are playing mind games about how they know each other better. They can do this stupid shit with the game night and they know each other better, but AJ doesn't know his favorite color, blah, blah, blah. But AJ, with the retort from them is, hey, look, Omos just hit you with a move. I counted 3. A ref's going to do the same. We don't need all this stupid shit. We've got it in the ring. So I like that as a response and as further mind games from AJ. and Amos. And then Amos looks strong as well. Then we had a quick little preview for Alexa's playground because she was swinging on her playground backstage before the commercial. Then we come back and we have Alexa's playground. She talks about the Jack in the Box, how it looks ordinary, but it's so much more. And, many, many years ago, decades ago, hundreds of years ago, I don't know what the fuck she said. It was called the Devil in the Box. There was writing on the sides, and it contained a demonic figure after they were weakened, like the Fiend. Randy thought that, he was gone forever, but he was just weakened, and so the Fiend was trapped in in a box. But you can't trap somebody forever. He just needed time, and now he is salivating for WrestleMania. Randy's biggest mistake was thinking that he understands what's next. She'll give him a teensy tiny hint at WrestleMania. The Legend Killer dies. Then she triggers the Fiend in the box. And then the camera pans to the right as Fiend is sitting beside her on the swing set. So yeah, man, Fiend looked fucking crazy in like proper lighting because they didn't have the purple lighting. They kind of had just bright lighting, regular like white light, I guess. And without the red or the purple light kind of blocking what you can see, the guy, his new look is crazy in like actual real lighting. It's insane. So, yeah, I'm a fan of the new look. Again, I don't like the vest. I mentioned it in my Fastlane review. I'm not a big fan of the vest particularly, but like the mask and shit and how the arms are burnt, like all of that. And then we had Drew backstage sitting on like one of those storage crates, and he's pissed, and he walks into the locker room and he's like, who's going to step up, and take the offer? I'm disappointed. Somebody step up and drop me. Then he goes up to Braun. He's like, Braun, you should have been 5-time champ. Why aren't you? Step up. Braun's like, listen, don't worry, man. After I beat Shane at WrestleMania, if you're the champion, I'll be the first to come calling. Then he goes to Humberto, grabs him by the clothes, step up, blah, 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 throws him across the locker room. Then he goes up to Riddle. He's like, bro, huh? And then Riddle's like, sorry, bro, I'm stuffed, man. Sheamus was a full meal, dude, or some stupid shit like that. Then Garza tries to attack Drew from behind. Drew thwarts him away like nothing. Then he goes to Gulak, and he's like, Gulak, I've seen you tweeting me. You're tweeting how you take the opportunity. Do it, brother. Then he headbutts Gulak, and then he goes up to Ricochet, and then Ricochet says, Lashley's word doesn't mean anything, but if it's a fight you're looking for, look no further. Drew says, I respect it. I'll see you in the ring. I liked this segment. I liked Drew wanting to fight everybody because Drew is a badass who wants to kick everybody's ass kind of thing. You know what I mean? I like that version of Drew. The Drew that comes out and cuts corny promos, he's okay. Excuse me, because the matches are still good. But like this version of Drew who's just like motivated and pissed off, and he's not trying to cut these stupid jokes and stuff like that, is awesome because he's like, hey, you want to fight me? Come fucking fight me. Try and put me down kind of thing. So I really liked this Drew. I really liked this segment. So, yeah, one of the rare highlights of Raw this week. Then we had Shayna versus Naomi. Dana and Mandy were on commentary. They had this thing where Lana got on Nia's shoulders. She was going to do the thing through the table. Lana gets down, pushes Nia into Mandy. Dana then attacks Nia. Nia ends up on the apron. Shayna kicks her away. Naomi rolls up Shayna for the win. Garbage in terms of they didn't even get, because Naomi and Shayna, if they're given time uninterrupted, they can have a decent match, man. I've said it on the videos before. I'm not a big Naomi fan like a lot of people seem to be, where they're like, oh, give her the title, give her this. I think she's okay. Because she's fun to watch. She's athletic. I don't really like her gimmick because it's just, hey, let's dance, dude, and look at all these cool lights. And then you get in the ring, and then it's a bunch of highly athletic stuff, and that's cool and fun to watch. But then it's like, you don't really have a character. You're just dancing. But whatever. So I'm not one of those people who kind of saw that match and they were like, yes, Naomi got a win. I was more pissed off that, one, it was just this muddled up garbage that's going to lead to nowhere. And two, Shayna stays losing fucking matches, and it pisses me off because Shayna should be fucking women's champion contention, brother, and they have her losing these fucking matches to protect Nia, dude. It's so fucking, oh my god, I want to rip out my eyes so I never have to fucking watch this product again, man. Fucking WWE, man. Fucking WWE, man. Holy shit. Then we have Asuka and Riddle in a backstage segment. And Riddle absolutely forgot what his promo said. Was sorry, I forgot what I was saying, and then went off screen. And then Asuka was like, "Oh wait, he's actually just leaving." And then the camera zoomed in on Asuka, and she was just like, "Oh, haha," and then they went to commercial. He was talking to her about how if they liked scooters in Japan or something like that, or I don't know. I thought it was funny, and you know what? With Riddle, it's kind of okay, you know what I mean? To kind of have a we're live, pal moment, because his whole gimmick is a stoner. So it makes sense within his character to forget what he's saying and just be like, oh, whatever, I forgot what I was saying, see you later, right? So he's able to save that. If Randy pops up and to Alexa and he's like, oh, Alexa, what am I gonna do to the Fiend? I forget my lines. Completely ruins it. If Riddle forgets his lines in a meaningless throwaway backstage comedy segment, it's fine. It actually makes it better in a way. So yeah, there you go. Then we had the Rhea Ripley and Asuka contract signing. Pierce introduces both of them. He calls Asuka the women's champion. Rhea Ripley wants to make it clear that she is the current Raw Women's Champion. Asuka says, yes, I'm the Raw Champion. You're overconfident. Rhea's like, I am. I was confident enough on my first night on Raw to challenge you at WrestleMania. Now I'm confident enough to tell you that I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. They both sign. You know what I mean? And then Asuka says some stuff in Japanese, and she says that her confidence is borrowed, I think, not earned. She has talent, but she's not ready, because she's going to do the ready for Asuka. And then Rhea's like, the hell I'm not, and flips the table into Asuka's face. And it's not one of those contract signing tables from the early 2000s or whatever, where it was just the gimmick wood table with a cloth over it or something like that. The contract signing tables they use now, it has the marble or the stone top. So that went straight into Asuka's face. Asuka on Raw Talk then said that she got dental surgery 3 days ago. So it actually hurt like hell to get that metal or stone or whatever fucking table thrown in her face. So poor Asuka, because Asuka for the rest of this segment, because there's more, was down selling. Nia then comes out with Reggie and Shayna. And she says, what's worse, Rhea challenging for the title or Asuka accepting? And then Shayna's like, they're both bad, but I mean, Rhea's new. Asuka, she's been here for a while. She should know better. We've dominated this division for over a year. Where's our match? I've shown I could kick Asuka's teeth down her throat. And Rhea, I'd welcome the opportunity to give you a dose of reality or whatever. Rhea says, what's stopping you? Nia then challenges them to a tag match next week. Rhea accepts for both of them. Oh, lots of problems here. Lots of problems here. The can they coexist storyline, right? So here's my opinion on the can they coexist thing. Occasionally, it's fine. If you want to do it before the match, as the go home to the match, or as the final thing to the match, you know what I mean? Because you've already built it kind of thing, and you just want to, you know what I mean? The problem is WWE do it literally every week, like the champion losing clean gimmick. So they've done it for 2 months with fucking Bianca and Sasha. Then apparently they did it on NXT with Cross and Balor, which I don't watch NXT currently, but I heard that on Twitter. And then now they're doing it with, that's 3 times in a month that they've done it. And they did the Bianca and Sasha stuff for 2 months straight. You know what I mean? And it's wait, hold on. Yeah, no, 2 months straight, yeah. Because I forgot that, I thought that they did the thing at the Rumble, but Rumble was Sasha and Carmella. So, fucking Chamber and Fastlane, they had can they coexist with Sasha, there we go, and Bianca. But So them doing the can they coexist thing again is just lazy because they do it so often. Then Shayna, you know what I mean? She shouldn't have lost, but she just lost. And then they have her coming out like 5-10 minutes after she just got rolled up by Naomi to talk shit about how they've dominated the roster for a year and how she could beat both Asuka and Rhea Ripley. And if she was booked like she should be, absolutely she should be cutting that promo. But why is she cutting that promo after she just got rolled up by Naomi in like a 2-minute match, man? Like that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Nia coming out to begin with and being like, oh, you guys stink. Nia, you don't belong in the business, man. Go fucking work somewhere else, dude. Like, obviously she was scripted to write that. Nia's garbage. But... oh, man. Nia also did this mocking, like, brutality thing where she stomped her foot lazily and stuff like that, and to mock Rhea Ripley. I don't know, brother. Whatever. Let's just keep moving, bro. Then we had MVP and Ricochet backstage, where MVP's like, yo, good on you for accepting the offer. Ricochet's like, listen, this isn't about you or Lashley. If we're being honest, both of you are full of it. But it's not about you guys, it's about me. I don't know the next time I'll get another opportunity, so I have to go out there and show that I can beat Drew. Then we have Drew versus Ricochet. The match was short, but Drew did a good job of getting Ricochet over because Drew did a good job of selling for Ricochet's offense, even if it was limited. And I think that's something that is a bit underrated about Drew because he, in matches... if they're a long match, obviously he sells for the person, but even if it's a short match, he does his best within the confines of him having to comfortably beat somebody to sell for their offense to make them look good. And I think that's something that's admirable about Drew. But anyways, Lashley's watching the match backstage. MVP is openly rooting for Ricochet on commentary. They did this cool dropkick segment spot on the outside where Drew kind of sends Ricochet into the steps, but Ricochet steps on the steps, jumps to the barricade, kind of tightrope walks around the corner, and then drop kicks Drew, which was an awesome spot. Then for the finish, Drew was on the ground, set up for the 630. The 630 misses. Ricochet lands on his feet but rolls through and then turns around into a Claymore, which he sells beautifully with like a backflip but landing on his neck kind of bump. So that was pretty cool. And then Drew wins. And then Mustafa Ali comes and chop blocks Drew while he's celebrating. Mustafa Ali has a knee brace, which on Twitter he said he doesn't need surgery for his knee, but he has a PCL tear or something like that. So hopefully he doesn't require surgery. Hopefully he doesn't get worse or anything like that, because Mustafa Ali is fantastic. And now that he's freed from the shackles of that awful Retribution build and push and gimmick and, everything, hopefully he can finally be given something that he can sink his teeth into. Granted, he sunk his teeth into Retribution. He did his absolute best to get it over, you could tell. But hopefully he gets a good thing to do so they can actually push him finally, because he's great. Then, you know what I mean? He's beating up Drew for a little bit. Drew sends him to the outside, and he's like, "You want some? Come get it." They go to commercial. Sorry, we come back in the midst of the match. The match started during commentary, I guess. Mustafa Ali watched the. Mustafa Ali worked the knee the whole match. Lashley was watching backstage for this as well, but then he gets kind of like disappointed and he leaves the screen. Backstage, they had this cool headbutt, a Glasgow kiss, whatever you want to call it, mid-springboard, where Mustafa Ali went for a springboard from the corner, where he would like springboard and then go back into a what's it called? The thing that Christian used to do from the corner, the crossbody, that's what it's called, crossbody. He did a springboard crossbody. He got interrupted with the headbutt, which looked cool, and then the Claymore for the win. The Claymore this time, though, had the 1, 2, 3 thing. I don't like that with any move. Like, even with Sweet Chin Music, it's not the best, because you can tell by the stomps if you're the opponent that your Sweet Chin Music is coming, right? But with the Sweet Chin Music, at least he's stomping the ground, but the crowd's chanting and everything. When you have your setup for your finish being 1, 2, 3, that is literally a countdown to when the opponent can expect the move, so I really don't like it. I understand that it's so Drew can, as a babyface, get interactivity with the fans and they can interact in the finish and it makes them feel more like part of the win for Drew. I absolutely get that, but it should be something else if they want to do that, because you being 1, 2, 3, kick, if I'm a wrestler and I'm scheduled to fight Drew McIntyre, right, I'm going to scout Drew. I'm going to see that he does that. So that way, when I hear 1, 2, 3, I'm going to haul ass because I know the kick's coming. You know what I mean? So logically, I don't like that it's a 1, 2, 3. If it's something else, maybe, but like a 1, 2, 3, I don't really like too much. But that's just a minor thing. Then we had Drew getting on the mic and calling out Lashley to come finish him off pretty much himself instead of getting other people to do his work for him. Lashley comes out, stares him down from the top of the ramp. We go to commercial. We come back, and Drew is in the ring, and he says, send anyone, play any trick you want. You can't prevent the inevitable. You and I at WrestleMania. Lashley says, I never needed help. I almost ended your career at Chamber. In hindsight, I should have, but what I did at Chamber will pale in comparison to what I do at WrestleMania. Your time is up. It is the almighty era. Drew's like, yeah, you beat my ass. You're fucking strong. You're tough. You're violent. This and that, this and that. If Drew McIntyre didn't exist, you'd be the man around here, but I do exist, and you've showed everyone you're afraid of Drew McIntyre. Then they brawl for a little bit, and then Drew sends Lashley out of the ring, and then Baron Corbin attacks Drew, assaults Drew for a little bit. Drew battles back for a tiny second with a belly-to-belly, but then the Claymore attempt from Drew gets reversed into a deep 6. Then Lashley puts in the Hurt Lock. Then he does it again, as Corbin's saying, do it again, do it again. Then he grabs him by the hair and puts his title in the face, and he's like, you see this? You see this? Are you ready for war, Drew? Ready for war? Then he puts the Hurt Lock in for a third time, and that is the end of the show. Why the fuck is Baron Corbin on SmackDown? You know what I mean? It's like, because like logically you could say, oh, the SmackDown guy saw that the Raw opportunity happened, right? If you take out Drew, you get the match at WrestleMania. But guess what, dude? You are a SmackDown superstar. So unless you get traded to Raw, then you will be awarded that match. But guess what? You are not a Raw superstar, so you are not allowed to fucking challenge for the Raw Championship. What a novel concept, right? Too bad Vince doesn't care about keeping things separate, so that's one issue. And the second thing is, like, it's just fucking garbage, isn't it? I guess I forgot to mention in the Hurt Business promo, because, I was upset about the Hurt Business being broken up. The fact that MVP in a promo had to say, hey, Drew's not scared, we just think that somebody else deserves an opportunity, is an abomination. Because that literally means Lashley is scared. Because when you say we're not scared, but, and you kind of like, in the delivery, you're like, we just feel like this, though, and you're kind of like shying away from saying it with your chest, that literally is a way of saying, hey, that's a way of portraying the heel as being afraid without them outright saying that they're afraid. And that should not be Lashley's character, brother. I think I said it the week before, or last week or the week before. For Triple H in Evolution, it worked because Triple H's whole gimmick wasn't, I'm the absolute fucking shits, I'm going to kill everybody. It was, hey, I'm great in the ring, I'm confident, but guess what? There are people out there who can beat me. I'm going to give myself every fucking advantage to win. And if I need help, I'm going to take it. Lashley is not that character. Lashley is, hey, I'm going to crush you like a can, and then I'm going to move on to the next victim. That's Lashley. Okay, the Hurt Business was a group, but it wasn't a group designed to give wins to the top guy. It was a group, so Evolution was there to elevate Triple H, right? The Hurt Business is there to dominate the roster as a group. They're not there to elevate one person. They're there to elevate the entire group. Which was the difference with the Hurt Business. And therefore, the leader of the group in Lashley, he's not the character that needs the rest of the group to help him. He's the character, like I said, Lashley is, to kill his opponent and move on to the next like it's nothing. That's Lashley. And then they've changed him to be, oh, we're scared of Drew because they want to build Drew strong. They want to give Drew his win in front of the fans that he didn't get last year. And listen, Drew getting his win in front of the fans is absolutely something that should happen, but not at the expense of Bobby Lashley. If you wanted to give Lashley the title, you should have done it after WrestleMania. At the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania, have Lashley be the one to challenge Drew, have him kill Drew, boom, there you go, then the almighty era can begin. But they booked themselves into a corner with Otis and the Money in the Bank. Then they had to damage control and put it onto Miz. And then even then, Miz is not a viable Money in the Bank holder in 2020/2021. So then you had to hastily, before you get too close to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view with Elimination Chamber there, you're like, okay, let's just get it off him and then we can transition it to Lashley, bada boom, bada bing. But guess what? Now you have to kind of ruin Lashley, deflate Lashley, take away his momentum from the awesome run that he's having to make Drew look strong. And I don't... Drew should have just fought like Sheamus or something, or maybe have Edge fail to win the Rumble and then pick Drew or something, or maybe just pick Drew after he won the Rumble, or just something else, man, because Lashley should not lose at WrestleMania, but Drew should win at WrestleMania. So you're in this situation where two things shouldn't happen, one of them will. And the one that is going to happen is Lashley losing, and arguably Lashley should be protected more than Drew right now. Drew got a year as champion. Granted, he had like 3 runs, or 2 runs, right? He won against Brock, he lost to Randy, then he won it from Randy, and then he held it since, right? Until he lost it to Miz. Drew had a year with the title, man. Just let Lashley run with it. You know what I mean? And don't break up Hurt Business. It's just, it's bad decisions, man. Bad decisions all around. In terms of what I'd give the show as a rating, like a 4, it was not good. There were a couple things that were kind of good, right? I mean, that Asuka and Riddle thing was a botch, so that wasn't intended to be good. The Rhea and Asuka contract signing was fine until the Nia came out stuff with Shayna talking shit after just losing a match like minutes earlier. Drew looking around backstage for a person to fight him was good. Ricochet getting a almost main event match because Ali got the main event match, but Ricochet and Ali getting main event matches was okay. Not okay, like it was good, but they were both given like a half match instead of one of them being given like a full match, you know what I mean? So maybe it could have just been given to one or the other. And then again, it makes sense for Ali to try and take advantage and come out of nowhere. The stuff at the end was I don't like Corbin coming over from SmackDown. That wasn't great for me. Alexa's Playground was good, I thought. It wasn't anything like mind-breaking special or anything, but it was good to advance the feud. The Drew Backstage thing was good. Shayna and Naomi kind of stunk just because of all the interference, all the outside bullshit, and then the shortness of the match, and then Shayna jobbing once again. AJ and Woods as a match was fine. The finish of the match was fine. The game night I did not like at all. I liked a tiny bit because of the Vanessa Carlton 1,000 Miles thing. But overall, I didn't like it. The New Day and Amos backstage thing was whatever. Lashley and Shelton was whatever. Although Shelton did get some decent offense in, which was nice to see. The dirt sheet was the promo part of the dirt sheet was fine. The actual Hey Hey Hop Hop premiere was awesome in a funny way, and then the Bad Bunny and Priest stuff afterwards was fine to advance it. The Randy backstage promo was fine. Sheamus and Riddle was good in ring, but the booking was shit. I actually glossed over. Drew walked by Amos and AJ, said he wouldn't turn their back on them early in the night before the Strowman expose. They said that Lashley's in your head, but we got bigger plans that are more realistic. Unlike you and Lashley, we're going to embarrass the New Day, and I'm focused on my match with Woods. And then Drew walks around saying, somebody come fight me. I didn't like AJ and Amos saying, hey, I know that if we kill you, we get a WWE Championship match, but we've got bigger plans. We've got the tag team titles. Fuck whoever told them to say that. Fuck whoever told them to say that. Also, Omos being scared of Lashley, it's good for Lashley, but it makes Omos look weak. Omos saying, hey, we have a realistic plan in the tag titles instead of Omos thinking it's realistic for him to beat Lashley. Omos is huge, brother. He shouldn't think like, oh, I can absolutely beat Lashley, but he shouldn't be like, oh, I have no chance. You know what I mean? But whatever. Whatever, dude. The Strowman expose was fucking garbage. The Hurt Business promo to start off things was garbage. The Riddle interview thing was not great. Yeah, maybe 3 out of 10. Maybe 3 to 4 out of 10, let's say, for Raw, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys thought of Raw down in the comments below. Did you like it for some godforsaken reason, or did you dislike it like everybody else? Leave down your rating. Do you agree or disagree with some of my statements? Leave that all down in the comments. I like to see your guys' opinions. So yeah, man, that's it for this video. If you want to check out some of the other stuff I do on the channel, you can check out my playlist at the end of the video, at the end cards, specifically my SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 GM mode, where I myself book storylines in that GM mode game. So if you want to see how I book storylines after I shit on wrestling for an hour, you can go see that, and then you can either like my storyline booking or shit on my booking. So there you go. Join the Discord server for the channel, link in the description. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description. Please sponsor me PC, obligatory sponsor me gimmick, gotta get that in there. Be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an episode, because YouTube likes to zuck your boy, and not put my videos in your sub boxes. So by pressing that nice old bell icon, you will get a push notification anytime I do upload, and you'll never have to miss it. And yeah, man, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, share it to all your friends, comment down below, all that good shit, and I'll see you guys next time.
We're